Today we're taking a seriously fascinating journey, moving from the hard science of personality psychology right into some incredibly practical relationship defense mechanisms. We're going to map out the critical difference between having healthy, high self-esteem and possessing grandiose narcissism. Then, we'll look at exactly how to spot the early warning signs of a toxic dynamic, and crucially, how you can protect yourself using proven psychological tools.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever met someone who's incredibly confident, outgoing, and assertive, and you found yourself wondering, is this just a healthy dose of high self-esteem, or am I looking at narcissism? Well, that is the central tension we're unpacking today. We're drawing on some really comprehensive academic research from the National Institutes of Health, along with clinical insights from mental health professionals. It's a fine line, and it can drastically affect your daily life and emotional well-being if you don't know what to look for.
Section 1. Narcissism versus self-esteem. Understanding the science.
To truly understand this, we've got to look at two core psychological concepts from our source data, agency and communion. So think of agency as the drive for getting ahead. It's all about dominance, extroversion, action, and individual skill. Communion, on the flip side, is about getting along. That encompasses warmth, nurturance, agreeableness, and altruism. Understanding these two drives, that's your absolute light bulb moment for figuring out human personality dynamics.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact difference. According to the research, a person with high self-esteem possesses both agency and communion. They absolutely want to get ahead in life, but they also really want to get along with others. Grandiose narcissism, however, is characterized by having that exact same high agency and extroversion, but severely lacking communion and agreeableness. They want to get ahead, but honestly, they do not care about getting along. They kind of view the world as a zero-sum game, where they literally have to put others down just to lift themselves up.
This data from the PMC study really drives the point home. If you look at how these traits correlate with psychological outcomes, high self-esteem has a strong negative relation to internalizing distress. Basically, that means it acts as a powerful, protective buffer against things like depression and anxiety. Plus, it's generally unrelated to externalizing behaviors like aggression. But look at grandiose narcissism. It has a very weak relation to protecting against distress, but a strong positive relation to externalizing behaviors. Things like callousness, entitlement, and aggression. Basically, narcissism is a massive risk factor for antagonistic behavior.
Section 2. The early warning signs, spotting the red flags.
So the crucial point here is that early on, a narcissist will start to dominate social interactions, slowly diminishing their partner's self-worth. And it starts subtly, right? You'll see constant interruption, or maybe an overuse of I statements. They'll continually steer the conversation right back to themselves. Then you might start noticing disguised public teasing or these little jokes that are actually designed to undermine you. And eventually, they may even start withholding affection entirely, just to punish and control your behavior.
As the relationship progresses, the Mental Health Center of San Diego notes that these individuals will deploy rapid-fire manipulative tactics to completely bypass your boundaries. We're talking about gaslighting, which is twisting facts so you actually doubt your own reality. Love bombing, where they use intense early affection to gain quick trust. Triangulation, which is pitting you against others to maintain control. Guilt tripping to induce shame. And of course, playing the victim. They'll reverse the roles whenever you try to hold them accountable for anything.
What this all boils down to is a severe empathy deficiency. A narcissist might have an intellectual understanding of your distress, meaning, sure, they can logically see that you're crying or upset, but there is absolutely zero emotional warmth behind it. They might acknowledge your pain, but they're going to immediately make it about themselves or simply dismiss you by telling you that you're just being too sensitive.
Section 3. The gray rock method, emotional self-defense.
Gray rocking is a deliberate strategy to minimize your emotional expression and become as neutral, bland, and uninviting as, well, a gray rock. Just think of the visual metaphor here. Imagine a dull, unremarkable stone sitting on the ground. It's a psychological self-defense tool designed to prevent conflicts from escalating and to fiercely protect your personal boundaries when you're forced to deal with a highly manipulative person.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the underlying psychology. Charlie Health notes that gray rocking works by effectively starving the abuser of the emotional responses they seek. You see, narcissists desperately crave validation, attention, and a sense of power over you. When you become a gray rock, you deprive them of that vital supply. You're essentially showing them that their attempts to provoke you simply aren't working anymore.
Section 4. How to gray rock actionable steps.
Let's move on and see how this builds into a highly practical strategy. Step 1. Withhold emotion.
You've got to keep your facial expressions and your tone completely calm. Step 2. Engage minimally. Stick to brief, factual, and incredibly uninteresting responses. Try to avoid making eye contact too. Step 3. Set boundaries. Politely but firmly disengage from provoking conversations. And Step 4. Practice consistency. You have to use this consistently so you teach the manipulator that your reactions absolutely cannot be influenced by their behavior.
But it's very important to note a crucial distinction here. Gray rocking provides brilliant short-term protection. It limits the abuser's ammunition, and it keeps you safe temporarily. However, there are serious long-term risks. Suppressing your natural emotions over a long period of time can lead to internalized stress, feelings of disconnection, and severe isolation. Basically, it's a temporary shield, not a permanent lifestyle.
Section 5. Knowing when to leave. Planning for safety.
If you're experiencing these severe behaviors, the relationship has moved way beyond manageable manipulation and straight into dangerous emotional abuse. Severe red flags include stonewalling or the silent treatment, attempts to isolate you from your friends and family, constant criticism aimed at utterly destroying your self-esteem, controlling where you go or who you talk to, and definitely any threats of self-harm or hurting you. These are clear signs of deep trauma bonding and abuse that really require professional support to navigate safely.
So I want to leave you with this provocative question to reflect on. If you're constantly forced to be a gray rock just to survive an interaction, is it time to evolve your short-term coping mechanism into a long-term exit? Think about your own boundaries, your emotional safety, and whether you need to start planning for long-term healing. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this structured look at the science and strategies empowers you to protect your peace.